Close your eyes, my friends, and let yourselves be carried away by the vast plains of Mongolia, where the wind blows endlessly and the horizon stretches as far as the eye can see. In this wild and untamed land, a man was born who was destined to change the course of history. His name was Temujin, but he would soon be known as Genghis Khan, the great ruler who founded the largest contiguous empire in human history. The birth of Temujin. The tale begins in the distant year of 1162, when Temujin came into the world in a noble family, yet in times of great adversity. He was the son of A.S.K, a respected tribal leader, but the cruel hand of fate struck when, at the age of 9, his father was poisoned by rivals. Ah, how relentless fate can be. Without his father's protection, Temujin's family was abandoned by their tribe, forced to live in poverty, surviving on hunting and whatever nature provided. But, dear young ones, Temujin was no ordinary youth. Amidst such hardships, he began to gather followers, forging strategic alliances with other tribal leaders. He used cunning and courage, and his innovative vision shone like a beacon in the darkness. Unlike the customs of the time, he promoted men based on merit, not lineage. Thus, the destiny of Genghis Khan would be shaped not by luck, but by the ability to see beyond traditions, recognizing the value that resides in the hearts of men. In 1206, after years of battles and conquests among the Mongolian tribes, Temujin succeeded in uniting all the nomadic tribes under a single banner. In that glorious moment, he took the title of Genghis Khan, or Universal Ruler. Thus began the Mongol Empire, ushering in a new chapter in human history. The Mongol ascent under Genghis Khan. Now, dear listeners, Genghis Khan was not content with merely unifying the tribes of Mongolia. His appetite for conquest seemed limitless. With innovative military tactics and a highly disciplined army, he began to expand his empire beyond Mongolian borders. The secret to his success lay in the speed and mobility of his forces. The Mongolian cavalry, masters of horse warfare, could cover vast distances in a short time, surprising their enemies. His gaze turned northward, toward China. In 1211, he invaded the Jin Empire, which had underestimated the Mongols. The campaign was devastating. By 1215, Beijing was captured, establishing Mongol dominance over the region. But this was just the beginning of his grand journey. To the west, the Muslim states of Central Asia also fell before the Mongol power. The Khwarezmian Empire, stretching across modern Iran and Uzbekistan, was obliterated by Genghis Khan's forces after a diplomatic misunderstanding. Ah, how the consequences of offense can be dire. The Khan of the Khwarezmian Empire insulted Genghis by killing his ambassadors, a slight he would never forgive. The result was the complete destruction of that empire. By the time of his death in 1227, Genghis Khan had expanded his empire from China to the Caucasus, from the Arabian Sea to the steppes of Siberia. But, as always happens, even the greatest leaders must face their end. Genghis Khan passed away while leading a campaign against the Xia kingdom, and thus the empire he built was passed on to his descendants. The empire's organization after Genghis Khan. After Genghis Khan's death, the empire was divided among his sons and descendants, but not chaotically. The empire was carefully organized into 4 major regions, each ruled by a member of his lineage, creating what are known as the successor kingdoms of the Mongol Empire. And here's a fascinating tidbit. The Mongol Empire, though fragmented, maintained a cohesive and cooperative structure for a long time. Let us explore each of these kingdoms. The Great Khanate, or Yuan dynasty, led by Kublai Khan, Genghis's grandson, was situated in China and solidified Mongol control over the region. Kublai established the Yuan dynasty, unifying China under Mongol rule, and this era is remembered as a cultural and scientific golden age. It was during this period that the Venetian explorer Marco Polo visited Kublai Khan's court, and his accounts amazed Europe. The Ilkhanate, located in Iran and the Middle East, was governed by another grandson of Genghis Khan, Hulagu Khan. The Ilkhanate conquered Baghdad in 1258, marking the end of the Islamic Golden Age. Under his rule, the Ilkhanate flourished in Persian architecture and art, blending Mongolian and Islamic influences. The Chagatai Khanate, centered in Central Asia, was led by the descendants of Chagatai, one of Genghis Khan's sons. This Khanate preserved Mongolian nomadic culture longer than any of the other successors, giving rise to important historical figures such as the conqueror Tamerlane. The Golden Horde, which ruled over Russia and parts of Eastern Europe, was led by the descendants of Batu Khan, another grandson of Genghis. This horde enabled the growth of Moscow, which would eventually become the center of Russian power. This Khanate was one of the most enduring, maintaining its dominance over Russia until the late 15th century. The decline of the successor kingdoms. But like every grand tale, even the mightiest empires are destined to fall. Over time, each of these kingdoms began to weaken, corroded by internal disputes, a lack of cohesion, and the rise of new regional powers. The bonds that once united the successors of Genghis Khan began to disintegrate. In China, the Yuan dynasty was overthrown in 1368 by the Ming dynasty, which expelled the Mongols back to the north. The Ilkhanate in Iran weakened due to dynastic conflicts and was eventually absorbed by the Turks and other peoples in the region. The Golden Horde also collapsed due to internal struggles and the rise of Moscow as a new dominant force. Finally, the Chagatai Khanate was dismantled with the emergence of new leaders, such as Tamerlane, who established his own empire in the region. Legacy and curiosities. Now, my dear listeners, while the Mongol Empire may have disintegrated, its legacy persists to this day. Did you know that the trade routes they established were crucial for the exchange of goods and ideas between East and West? Without the Mongols, Europe would have taken much longer to access gunpowder, the compass, and even silk and spices. Moreover, the paisa, a metal tablet that functioned like a Mongolian passport, allowed merchants and ambassadors to travel throughout the empire safely. This innovation, my friends, could be considered a precursor to modern passports. The Mongols were also pioneers in using gunpowder in battle. They adopted Chinese technologies and integrated them into their military campaigns, accelerating the spread of this invention to the West. Culturally, the Mongols absorbed practices from various peoples and promoted the coexistence of multiple religions. Under their rule, Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, and other religious groups coexisted peacefully, as long as they respected the laws of the empire. This, young ones, was a rare feat in an era of constant religious conflict. So, dear ones, remember that the saga of the Mongols is not solely about military conquests. It is also a story of innovation and a legacy that resonates through the ages. Genghis Khan and his descendants shaped our world, leaving valuable lessons about leadership, strategy, and the ability to adapt to life's relentless flow. If this knowledge has sparked your curiosity, don't forget to like and subscribe so we can explore more together. And, as I always say, stay curious.